Hello, this is Dustin Martin. I'm working on Module 5, Barriers to Using Web 2.0 in the 21st Century. All right, so the summary of the Web 2.0 article just kind of broke it down to some hot topics that I felt like were hot topics throughout the article. Device and Wi-Fi availability, both in the community and the classroom, pros and cons, or not pros and cons, but advantages and disadvantages that presents. There's quite a bit of teacher input on different aspects throughout the article, both positive and negative effects that the technology presents. And then I thought it was interesting, the school culture. The article talked a little bit about the difference between elementary and secondary, how elementary many times is kind of second thought in the integration of technology, while secondary education seems to primarily get most of the new technology that's being offered. So the section on digital divide, the question was, do I think digital divide will continue or will it get better? I answer, I think we are on our way to solving some of the issues to the digital divide. That's my thoughts. I don't know that we'll ever address every issue there is, and I'm sure as we develop new technology, there will be new issues that we don't know about. But I do think, I think we've made a lot of progress, and I realize it probably is very dependent upon what school district you're in, how your school district's handling it. I'm very proud of our district, and I feel like they've done a great job. Just in the last year, we've done the one-to-one devices where every student in the district, K through senior level, has received a Chromebook that they get to keep for 365 days to take it home at night. They keep it during the summer, during spring break, Christmas break. And I think that's just over 7,000 students that we gave that to throughout the whole district. We also have a Wi-Fi checkout. We did a demographic survey, our district did, and it's probably impossible to get an accurate snapshot, but we discovered that 92% of our student body does have internet, and they do have Wi-Fi availability at their house. So that 8% on 7,000 students is still quite a few kids, but it's a fairly low percentage of kids that don't have Wi-Fi. So our district basically bought hotspots, and we actually check those out to students if they have a need. There's a lot of restrictions on the hotspots as far as internet filtering, what sites they can go to, but to get to most of the school content, they're allowed to do that. So I thought that was a pretty neat little committee that came up with that within our district. The community hotspots, our Chamber of Commerce actually works with businesses, and I don't know the details of it, but I know that each business gets a incentive or a reward from the Chamber of Commerce if they offer free Wi-Fi. So that's another area that we can help. If out of the 8% of students that don't have Wi-Fi, just offering more places throughout the community that do offer Wi-Fi for them. The 21st century skills needed to graduate. So I put like two lists here. Current skills needed, typing. And actually, I know some school districts have even, taken that out of their curriculum. And I just put one thing there, I think old age, as far as technology, there wasn't a lot of requirements, pretty standard. 21st century skills needed, in my opinion. I put flexibility and adaptability as the number one. I feel like being flexible and being adaptive to your surrounding and what your assignments are and what your, even what your skill set or your knowledge is going into the assignment. Both of those characteristics will carry you a long ways. Critical thinking and problem solving kind of follow footstep really to flexibility and adaptability. But if you can possess those four traits, I really don't feel like there's anything that you can't do. Most of technology, I feel like, we have instruction and PD for it, but, usually it's hands-on learning. It's digging into something, figuring out how to use it. A lot of times nobody tells you how. And I think if we can, challenge kids to get to that level of learning where, they can advocate for themselves, they can go in and find a way to learn, then that's a great skill to possess. Impact on personal internet by global economy. I had to think through this for a second, but as soon as I started thinking through it, lots of things popped in my mind. First one is Google Maps. I travel quite a bit, just this as a coach, wrestling team, football team, and a wrestling team. We actually travel within quite a few different states, and so it seems like we're always going somewhere I've never been before. And whether it's wrestling or personal trips, Google Maps are awesome. I use that all the time, probably daily. YouTube, it's been around for quite a while, but it's still something I use quite a bit. A lot of times just for fun, but I do have like YouTube channels for my wrestlers. I can upload their matches, privately share it with them only. So I think that's a great tool. Facebook, it's who doesn't use Facebook. And then probably one of my most recent discoveries, which I'm really into right now, is Periscope. I think it's awesome. I used to wrestle at Fort Hays State, and Chaz Thompson, the wrestling coach now, he uses Periscope quite a bit, and I've got 2 kids on the team that I coached, and so it's really neat, like just go, I think last Friday, a couple days ago, he turned on the Periscope during practice, so I got to watch, a kid that I've known for a long time and coached, got to watch him in practice, so I thought that was really neat. So it's a fun tool. What training do I still need for my current position? Google, for sure. Got off track here. Excuse me on my notes. Yes, so Google. That's. I feel like in a training scenario, I kind of laughed when I was typing up the slide. I go to Nixa Public Schools, Nixa High School, but we could probably call ourselves the University of Google, because it seems like within the last year, everything has went to Google. Even as simple as our Outlook mail switching to Google email. And, I was unique. I'm in the coaching world, but I'm younger, so I handle transition to technology fairly well. But I'm around a lot of the, upper age. I won't say an age, but a lot of the older coaches, and I'm kind of they call me all the time. They're like, hey, what do we need to do? And I don't necessarily know the answer, but I can usually figure it out a little bit quicker than they can. And so, it seems like, and our school's done a good job. They've given us lots of training on Google, but I feel like we need more. It seems like everything, is a Google app, or has an extension, or, just everything's Google right now. So more Google training, the better off I think everything is. Is my school equipped with 21st century technology? Yeah, I feel like I work at a good district. I'll brag on them. I feel like our district's done a great job with the one-to-one devices. Kids take home, Wi-Fi checkout, and then teacher training. I think they've done a super good job with the teacher training. About a year before we actually got our Chromebooks and went one-to-one, they were already pulling us in to not necessarily monthly, but bi-monthly meetings, and teaching us how to use the Chromebooks and how to use some of the applications that are on it to better teach our classes. We kind of overtrain sometimes. I feel like we got new phones in our school district last April, and we all had to go to a 1-hour training on how to use our telephone. And I kind of went into it with a bad attitude, like I'm going to a training session to learn how to answer a phone call. But at the end of the day, I actually walked out there with quite a bit of information on how to record a phone conversation, how to forward to your cell phone and all that good stuff. So I feel like we do a good job in training. I feel like is one of our strengths within our district. Advantages to 2.0 in schools. I feel like one of them is open line of communication for students to teachers. The more technology we integrate into our classrooms and just throughout our educational process, whether it is physically in the classroom or it's a virtual class, or students are usually a little more willing to communicate if it's not face-to-face, which is sad. I do dislike that, a student would rather, sit across the room and send me an email versus, walking up and talking to me. But I've also had kids that would never talk to me because of that. So I feel like, that's definitely an advantage. Participation, whether you're doing a clicker project where kids can, text in a poll, whether, they choose A, B, or C, or true or false, or whether it's doing a Google Cast like we're doing, or not a Google Cast, but a webcast like we're doing right now. I think most kids are more willing to participate. You avoid that shy student that, last thing they would do is walk up in front of a classroom and talk. They're willing to do that. Usually you get a little more creative, kind of, giving kids category, an assignment project to do, and try not to restrict them with rules. And I think it's a lot more fun. Kids have more fun whenever they get to get on a computer and do things, design things, and build webcasts. Disadvantages of 2.0 in schools, budgeting for sure. That's something that can be can be fixed. But budgeting and funding, that's got to be number one when you're trying to get every student a device, or you're buying new programs. Everything costs money, and we're always being told the state governor is going to withhold money, or whatever. So the budget and funding, I feel like is one of the biggest disadvantages. That's not an actual disadvantage of technology, but it's a disadvantage of trying to get technology in the school. And then the second one is the teacher training. The Web 2.0 article mentioned several times that teacher training, whether it was time, I felt like they didn't have enough time to get everything done, or if a teacher took them 45 minutes to plan a lesson, traditionally maybe it takes them an hour and a half the first couple times, but I think they'll see that as they continue to do that time will significantly decrease as they understand technology better. But just training from a district standpoint, it takes time and resources. That check mark is not appropriate. That should be upside down. Problems experienced with cyberbullying or other inappropriate use. So I teach a credit recovery and an at-risk program. So traditionally, some of my students are behaviorally challenged. I have seen, both of them, cyberbullying and sexting. Those have both been major issues within my, not necessarily within my classroom, but the student body I have within their school day at some point. I could probably list 15 or 20 examples this year of issues. I had a kid in my class created a Facebook page where it was Nixa Confessions, where he basically used names and told every story he had ever heard about every boy and girl within our school district. And I think at about 4 or 5 days down the road, it ended up ended in a fist fight in the hallway. So, but it started with cyberbullying in a sense, where doing something online that he probably wouldn't have normally done. So there's all kinds of examples. I think anybody that's taught has plenty of examples of that. And then the sexting is, that's something that's a pretty real deal. I put the little squiggly line graphic on my computer because, the big thing in technology is nothing can ever be erased. And I think kids just have a hard time with that concept, that, if you, said something to somebody one time, it's probably not going to be taped, and there's no real record of it. But, pretty much everything virtually has a record, and it can be pulled, if needed. So definitely say I've seen some issues with both of those. So thanks, and hope you enjoyed.